In the dark shadows of ancient Athens, a night with a woman in a brothel cost as little as 2 loaves of barley bread, less than a flask of cheap wine. These women, labeled porni, were prostitutes, the lowest of the low, stripped of their dignity and exploited by a society that turned them into slaves. Court speeches by orators like Deastes and Lysias exposed the grim truth. These women endured 6 to 10 men a day, their labor barely enough to buy a handful of lentils. While the porni toiled in poverty, the brothel owners accumulated wealth, funneling a portion of their profits into the Athenian treasury as taxes. The city's laws turned a blind eye to age, allowing girls as young as 10 to 13 to be trapped in this brutal trade, as archaeological records grimly confirm. Each bore a scorch mark on their thigh, a red-hot iron mark declaring them to be living goods. Defiance was met with merciless cruelty, public floggings, days without food, or gang rape as a grim warning to others. For newcomers, the first transgression was a public ritual, performed before other prostitutes and ogling customers. Pappy of Thessaly described it as an act calculated to break shame and break spirits. Onlookers jeered and cheered, turning suffering into spectacle. Virgins were paid 10 times more than their seasoned counterparts, recorded by contemporary writers with a cold detachment, as if picking fruit at a market stall. Privacy was a cruel illusion. Women served men in dark corners of communal hallways, separated only by rags or frayed rugs. Every moan, every plea for mercy became part of the entertainment for waiting clients. Before we uncover these forgotten pages of suffering, courage, and pain, if you want to learn the truths left out of history books, please like this video and subscribe. Your support helps us give a voice to those who were never heard in their lifetime. Athenian pimps categorized their slaves: Nubian women, dwarves, mutes, fighters, or unbroken. Each had her price and her devotees. 5th century vase paintings depict shows and contests where men competed to overpower a resisting girl for sport. Graffiti on brothel walls reveal clients paid extra to spoil the goods, to maim, scar, or disfigure a woman's face or body. Brothels sold violence as a commodity, and girls for punishment commanded premium rates. Torn lips, broken teeth, burns from oil lamps, these were pleasant features for a certain clientele. A woman's pain became art. Her screams, music for drunken patrons. In the city that gave the world philosophy and theater, human suffering was its most lucrative craft. Yet even this daily savagery paled beside the horrors of sacred festivals. During festivals, especially the Dionysia, prostitutes were handed over to groups of men for free as part of a sacred fertility ritual. Ancient sources describe these events shamelessly. Gang rapes unfolded to the strum of lyres and libations of wine, punctuated by jests and bets on the victim's endurance. On such days, a woman lost even the shadow of humanity, reduced to a ritual beast, a sacred plaything for a drunken mob. A physician's journal notes deaths from ruptured organs, asphyxiation during gang assaults, or collapse from pain and blood loss. Dionysus's priests sanctified these orgies as pleasing to the god. The blood of ravaged women mingled with wine on altars. Their final gasps were deemed prayers for fertile fields. When the revels ended, survivors were dragged back to brothels if they could still move. The dead were carried beyond the city walls and dumped in ravines like sacrificial refuse. But these festival horrors were only part of a system that broke women daily. Regular corporal punishment was standard. Women were beaten with rods, leather straps, or bare hands. Pimps allowed loyal clients to discipline slaves, including sadistic games and sexual coercion. For any mistake spilled wine, a misspoken client's name, or tears, a porna was locked in a dark storeroom without food or water for a day, or tied to a stone pillar in the courtyard. Winter nights in wet rags, summer heat without a sip of water, these were called character correction. Rape with objects, wooden clubs, wine goblets, knife handles, was also used to punish disobedience. Slaves learned to mask pain with smiles, as tears only fueled their master's rage. In a city that sang of the body's beauty, women's bodies became canvases for wounds. Attempted escape was punished under Athenian law as theft of property, met with brutal public retribution. Runaways were branded with hot iron on the forehead or chest, ensuring all knew them as defiant slaves. Court records document crucifixions of fugitive porni caught during religious festivals, nailed to wooden planks, and displayed on the agora as warnings. Some died of thirst, others from gangrene around the nails. Desperate women sought sanctuary in temples, praying for divine protection, but priests handed them back to their owners for a small fee. God's altars were no holier than property rights. Runaways were dragged back in chains. Bloodstains on temple steps were washed away by slaves at dawn. Each failed escape made punishments more sadistic. Athenian justice had 1,000 ways to break a woman's will without ruining her market value, though even that value mattered little when replacements were cheap. Hippocratic treatises note that porni rarely lived past 25. Venereal diseases, sepsis from constant injuries, exhaustion, and urinary infections were chief killers. Women with festering sores, foul discharges, and open wounds were forced to work until they collapsed. Treatment was deemed unprofitable. A new slave cost less than a doctor's visit. Clients complained of the stench of rot and blood, for which pimps beat the sick women, as if pain could heal decaying flesh. Archaeological digs near ancient brothels uncover female remains with deformed pelvic bones, traces of forced sex and birth trauma, skulls with fractures, ribs with healed breaks, misaligned vertebrae, silent proof of systematic violence. When a woman became unfit for work, she was carried beyond the city walls, alive or dead. In Athens, which crafted ideals of beauty, women's bodies were discarded like shattered pottery. Pregnancy was treated as damage to goods, punished swiftly with caustic potions to induce miscarriage, blunt blows to the belly, or lifting unbearable weights. Medical papyri described clandestine abortions using tansy brews, boiling oil, or sharpened wooden sticks inserted into the womb. If births could not be prevented, they happened alone on the same straw mat in the workroom where clients were serviced. No midwives, no medicine, no hygiene. Many mothers died from blood loss or puerperal fever. Archaeologists find tiny bones in brothel drains and refuse heaps the remains of newborns strangled at birth. Infanticide was routine. A slave's child meant only extra costs and lost workdays. Women bore children only to kill them with their own hands, the sole mercy they could offer. Under Athenian law, porni had no legal personhood. Their bodies belonged wholly to their masters. Women worked off fictitious debts for food, clothing, and shelter, sums that grew daily with interest and fines. A slave could not refuse any client, even one who maimed her or demanded life-threatening acts. Consent or refusal was legally irrelevant. She was an object, incapable of opinions about her use. Court records show porni filing complaints of abuse, but judges dismissed them. A slave could not testify against a free man. Their statements were accepted only under torture. In the society that birthed democracy, half the population was rightless. Slave women sat at the bottom of this hierarchy, below livestock, which at least were fed regularly. Yet rarely, some glimpsed a chance to rise. Occasionally, a porna became a favorite of her owner or a wealthy client. She gained a private room, fine jewelry, silk chitons instead of coarse wool, and constant surveillance. Such women lived in gilded cages. Favorites knew their status hinged on a man's whim, who could cast them back to the common brothel or kill them for defiance. Records note the custom of gifting such women to a master's friends as hospitality. A mistress spent the night with a guest, then returned to her lord like a precious goblet lent to a dear friend. Even at the pinnacle of the slave hierarchy, a woman remained an object, albeit pricier. Golden chains bound her as tightly as iron. In the end, all porny-aged sick slaves or favored mistresses faced the same fate: nameless death and oblivion. Dead porny were not buried with Greek rites. Their bodies were hauled beyond the city walls, dumped in ravines, or buried in unmarked graves. Against sacred custom, they had no tombstones, no epitaphs, no memorial offerings. Even if a woman was freed, her past erased her from respectable society. Former porny were excluded from civic roles, ghosts who never officially existed. Archaeologists uncover female bones amid refuse piles and pottery kilns waste, the final resting place of those deemed less than human in life. No grave markers, no names, no memory. In a culture that wove epic tales of heroes, thousands of women vanished without trace, their suffering too mundane for poetic immortality. But the true horror was not their erasure. After Aristophanes' comedies portrayed prostitutes as vulgar, lustful creatures fit only for mockery and blows. Audiences in the theater of Dionysus roared with laughter at scenes of rape, beatings, and humiliation. Female pain was a wellspring of mirth. Vase paintings and ceramics depicting gang rapes, sadistic acts, and torture-adorned homes, wine cups, and symposium dishes. Violence against women became decorative art woven into daily aesthetics. Poets sang of hetaere's beauty, but porny appeared in verses only as targets of scorn. Their cries of pain rhymed with comic couplets. Their tears spun into metaphors for rain or dew. In a society that elevated tragedy as high art, real human tragedies were reduced to farce. Athenian culture mastered the art of ignoring the suffering of those it deemed unworthy of pity, a blindness essential to an economy built on exploiting the defenseless. Prostitution funneled steady revenue into Athens' treasury through brothel taxes and the slave trade. Democracy flourished in a society where half the population was enslaved and women were barred from civic life. While Socrates taught virtue on the agora blocks away, hundreds of women existed as living goods. While Pericles extolled Athens' spirit, the city profited from human trafficking. Great philosophical schools, theaters, and temples all rested on an economy fueled by the vulnerable. The Parthenon's marble was paid for with the blood of nameless slaves whose bodies became the currency of a thriving civilization. Modern history books and tourist trails skirt this dark side of ancient Greece. The memory of tens of thousands of porny is still erased from official narratives, as if their suffering might tarnish antiquity's grandeur. The silent ghosts of these women still haunt the city's ruins, demanding their story be told at last. Thank you for watching this video until the end. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback and honest opinion help us create more videos like this.